Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we will be recapping an anime titled Wonder Woman. In ancient times, the Amazons, headed by the mother of Diana, Hippolyta, fight an ancient war against Ares, the god of war. As Ares is about to fight Hippolyta, he comments that she's coming right at him with such enthusiasm, just as she usually does whenever she's in his chambers. She sarcastically replies that she hopes he's as good as in the bed. The fight starts and they are of equal strength. Meanwhile, every other lady of Amazon fights against the brutality of men, and as god of war Ares remind Hippolyta of the child she bore for him. She tells him she didn't give birth to the child as she was forced into birthing him by Ares. She tells him she will kill the child, and she takes a horse and goes for Thrax, her son. She cuts off his head immediately before Ares reaches her. She takes advantage of Ares' confusion to attack him, gets him on his knees and attempts to kill him, but Zeus arrives. Zeus tells her she can't kill his son. She asks him where he was when Ares was destroying her city. He keeps talking to her, saying she can never kill his son. When Hera, the wife of Zeus and mother of Ares, arrives, she apologized to Hippolyta as for the way Zeus was talking to her. However, Hera gives her the opportunity to take Ares as a captive. She binds him with a chain that withholds his powers and tells her she can now control Ares. Hippolyta argues that her people have been destroyed and her city is gone, so what's the fate of her people? Hera says she has compensation for them and she will take them to a distant island where they will be able to hide from men forever. Hera offers Hippolyta the island of Themyscira. Hippolyta goes there and she molds a child out of the sand and she gives it life with her blood. A child she named Princess Diana. For years, the Amazons stayed on the island in isolation, retaining their young looks. Diana is now more mature and she practices with Artemis. As the duel continues, she wins the fight and she tells Artemis that she is weak, but Hippolyta comes out to tell Diana that when they were fighting, Artemis was among the best warriors. Artemis says she wishes for her opportunity to show her skills again, but Hippolyta prays that they will never have a reason to fight or entertain men again. Diana responds asking why can't they entertain men. She says that men might have changed, and if they can, they should relate better with them. Diana's best friend Alexa, an avid reader, also says that she wishes they could get involved with men again, even if it's for no other reason than getting more books. To convince Diana that men are the lowest of the low in the world, Hippolyta takes Diana to prison. As they enter the inner part of the prison, she shows Ares to Diana. As Diana sees him, she shivers. Ares says the shivering is necessary and says Hippolyta can't hold him captive forever. Hippolyta leaves with her daughter. On Earth, an American squadron goes to war with an opposition team. As they throw the bombs, Hippolyta feels the sound in her country. She looks into the mirror that connects them to Earth and says it's only when she touches that mirror that she misses the world she came from. She looks at the mirror and Artemis convinces her not to touch it. The fight in the airspace gets tougher and Captain Steve Trevor's plane gets damaged as a result. Hippolyta touches the mirror at about the same time and the island shows. Steve sees it, tries to land his damaged craft there, but ends up landing in the water. He walks towards the stream where he sees several Amazon females having their baths. He watches in amusement until one of the females throws a spear at him. He tries to escape the females chasing and he falls into the water. He swims until he gets to another side of the mountain. On the other side, Artemis tells Diana that Hippolyta has instructed that she returns home, but Diana refuses the advice and goes to find Steve. She sees him and they fight. He comments about her strength and she knocks him down and binds him. She takes him home and he wakes up tied to a chair. Hippolyta tells him she has a question for him, but Steve says he won't answer any question. But Hippolyta tells him he doesn't have a choice. She uses the lasso of truth to determine if the Americans have plans for them. He tells them America doesn't know their country exists and he's only there by mistake. Artemis asks to kill him, but Hippolyta says Steve didn't do anything to them and they deserve to send him back to his world and they have to choose an escort for him. Diana volunteers to follow, but Hippolyta refuses. She tells her they will do their usual competition to pick an escort and she isn't qualified to compete. Persephone suggests that she follows her to Ares' holding to guard it. While Diana sits by the tree sobbing in anger, Alexa comes. She says that she has come to replace her and she tells her to cover her face and go to the competition. The competition starts with spear throwing, darts throwing, and horse racing before the physical fight. Meanwhile, at Ares' jail, Alexa tells Persephone that the man's presence could change their country, but Persephone stabs her from behind. After killing Alexa, she opens Ares' cage and brings him out. She kisses him and he tells her their long friendship has ended with a kiss. Eventually Diana wins the fight. She bows to her mother with her helmet on, and when Hippolyta asks her to remove the helmet. If you are enjoying this recap, remember to subscribe to get notified whenever there is a new upload. Hippolyta sees Diana, but she can't stop her at this point. The news of Alexa's death gets to the country. They go to the cage and Artemis tells Hippolyta that Diana has another duty on Earth. Diana prepares and follows Steve. As they land, she sees children and she has never seen one before, and she sees a female child crying. She goes to meet the girl, who tells her she wants to play games with the boys, but they are rejecting her. She says she doesn't know how to sword fight, and Diana teaches her how to sword fight. Steve tells Diana that his company has surveillance cameras that can make the search for Ares easier for her. So she follows Steve to his company. As they enter, they meet Etta, who asks Steve to help her lift the table. Diana interferes and asks her what's wrong with her that she cannot lift the table. Diana lifts it with one hand and takes the pen. She follows Steve to his office and complains that women in their world are trained to be weak. After searching for signs of Ares, Steve asks her to wait for more crime signs, so she should follow him to a bar. They drink and he assumes she's drunk, so he attempts to touch her, but she angrily walks out. As he apologizes outside, some thieves try to take their wallets. Diana fights them until they apologize to her. They notice another person coming. Steve offers to fight, but they realize it's a demon. Diana figures he works for Ares, and the demon introduces himself as Deimos. Diana fights Deimos until she subdues him, but as she attempts to get the truth about Ares' location with the lasso of truth, Deimos kills himself. She tails Ares to a hideout. Ares is planning to meet his uncle to remove his binds, and he tells Persephone that his uncle won't voluntarily accept, but he will convince him. They need a human sacrifice to open the blue gate. He takes Persephone's sword to stab one of his guards, but Diana jumps in. Diana tries to stop Ares from opening the gate, but she fails. He opens the gate where he meets some animals to refuse to grant Persephone entrance. He tells Persephone to stay by the gate while he goes to bargain with his uncle Hades. He tells his uncle that if he returns to the world with his powers, he will send so many human souls to the afterlife that his uncle will have as many slaves as possible. He begs Hades to help him, but Hades tells him that immediately after he breaks out of the jail, Zeus already came to beg him not to break the bind. However, Hades tells him he values family, so that he will help Ares out. He gets rid of Ares' binds. Later, Diana wakes up at the hospital. She asks Steve if he was able to stop Ares, and Steve replies otherwise and says she might have died. She tells Steve that she doesn't care about her life, and as Amazons, they have been trained to die in battle. She insults Steve for giving the vision she has entrusted in his hands away to help her. She argues that he wouldn't have done such a thing if she was a male. He gets angry at her and tells her that the Amazons aren't perfect either. He tells her the acts of hiding away from the world is actually cowardice and stupid. They reconcile shortly afterwards. On the other hand, Ares gathers his followers in Washington. He instructs them to destroy the world. The news of trouble gets to the president, who tries to contact all their enemy nation, but the governments deny their involvement. Steve and Diana get to Washington. Diana goes to stop Ares, but Persephone pushes her into the hands of soldiers. Ares takes his sword to repay the evil Hippolyta did by killing his son, but the warriors of Amazon arrive in great numbers. They stop Ares from killing Diana and set out to fight. The government sees the troop from Themyscira and assumes the Amazons are the enemy in the fight. They send nuclear missiles toward Themyscira, but Steve stops it. Amid the commotion, Diana fights against Ares and beheads him. Steve returns, unites with Diana, and then kisses her. As Ares arrives in the underworld, Hades turns him into a slave. The Amazons return to their world, and when Hippolyta realizes Diana misses the world, she gives Diana the opportunity to fulfill her dream of being the bridge between Earth and their world. Diana accepts it and returns to Earth, where she is crowned Wonder Woman. Thank you for watching, guys. Please remember to subscribe to this channel for more animated recaps.